What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Critical Overlord here. We're going to be talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer 3 in this video here today. So Freddie Prinze Jr. spilt the beans during the Scale Talk podcast that he was recently a guest on, and thank God he did, because now there's some more official positivity being spoken into the future regarding I Know What You Did Last Summer 3, which is still coming out in July until further notice. I myself do think they can make it until July. I think the film can come out that month. If it gets delayed a little bit, maybe into August or sometime later in the year, that's fine. But I think they're going to make the July release date. Freddie shared a lot of interesting details, like, for instance, when filming is going to resume, where it resumes, who he has scenes with, why it doesn't make sense for Ray and Julie to lead, and he closed the door on a prior antagonist. So first things first, I Know What You Did Last Summer will resume filming next month in California. He has a few more scenes to shoot, which will include time with Jennifer Love Hewitt, according to him. So production did in fact stall. His post on IG now makes complete sense. Ray's fate isn't as easy to predict anymore, and Julie and Ray will have scenes together. Presumably also some of these scenes might include Sarah Pidgeon's character, since it looks like she's going to be playing their child, as revealed in a set photo in which she seemed to be wearing a similar jumper that Julie wore in the original. He went on to gush over how Julie and Ray are handled so well in the story, while throwing jabs at another legacy film that wanted him back. He makes it clear Julie and Ray are not the leads, but are used to push the new cast forward in a very powerful way. His exact words about them not being the leads were as follows. He said, "It's not like here's the Ray and Julie movie we deserve, because that doesn't make sense. That guy's dead, so it has to be a new generation." Now, of course, that guy is in reference to Ben Willis. He continues to say the way Ray and Julie are laced into the story with the newbies is so beautifully done, and he teased some creative kills are expected during the upcoming Legacy sequel as well, which is always great and nice to know about that being featured in a slasher film. Jennifer and Freddie, they just get it, man. I don't know what else to say other than they absolutely get it. I've been stressing that Ray and Julie are essentially not necessary for this IP to be revived, but they decided to bring them back, and because you decided to do this, you need to find something significant to do with them, and it seems like Freddie is confident they have done that. Freddie's attitude about the film keeps me hopeful more than anything, because I still have my reservations about it. I still will wait for further context before I start saying the creatives absolutely nailed it with Ray and Julie's return to the series, because we could be thinking completely different from Freddie when this film drops. We could think it's trash. We could think that they didn't use them correctly. But I have no doubt in my mind that I don't have to worry about getting a Sally Hardesty or a Chris type return from these two. I know I can at least cross that off the list. We'll probably get something in line with the trio's return during Scream 5, which is something they, of course, patent this movie around. And while that wasn't flawless, what they did in Scream 5 has been better than some other returning Legacy star films. Jennifer didn't want Julie to pop in for a quick moment and just say hello and then dip, and it seems like she got her way, or was able to at least have the screenplay bend a bit if it wasn't already to her liking the first time they approached her. There's nothing wrong with reviving IPs and letting new stars carry it on. I mean, yes, there are some exceptions, I can admit that, but not every slasher revival can be like Blumhouse's Halloween trilogy, and nor should all of them be like that. Not everyone needs to have a Jamie Lee Curtis type of moment. Not everyone is Jamie Lee Curtis. So the fact that they speak in such a way that makes me know they are content and fine with Legacy moving on to newbies and letting the newbies carry the franchise into the future, if it even is allowed to exist for such a longer period of time beyond what they're about to do. That's just refreshing to hear. Not that we didn't get that with the Scream 5 cast, because we did. We got that from David. We got that from Neb. We got that from Courtney. But a lot of the times it seems as though we are so convinced that these IPs cannot live on without the stars that help bring them to life, and it's just not reality. There are so many people out here who probably do not know what I Know What You Did Last Summer is. The franchise has essentially been dead for the last 20 years if you don't want to count the god-awful straight-to-video film that came out in the 2000s and the recently failed TV show. Ray and Julie are essentially like who? Like, shout out to the New Day. That's what a lot of people probably are going to think if you were to bring them up and just mention them as these iconic characters in the slasher genre. To me and many other people that are diehards of the film, yes, we love them. I get that. There's a fan base for these movies. That's not what I'm saying. But to think that this bubble that I exist in is the wider audience, I think that's a bit delusional. The wider audience is not going to be checking for Ray and Julie. They could have easily done this without them. But because they decided to bring them back, hopefully they came up with something substantial for them to do, and it sounds like they did that. Again, his attitude makes me so excited more than anything that has been coming out recently. I have no reason to believe that these two are inherently needed, especially when Ben Willis is dead. We have that confirmed by Freddy now as well. So seeing Ben back, that seems to be something we can just write off. If Ben is dead, sure, someone could carry on the story and get payback, but 20 years has gone by. A more appealing narrative can be found in how Ben's accident changed Southport in the last 30 years. Has Julian Ray's experience been exposed? Is it inspiring a copycat? Which the last one, of course, seems to be a clear yes, given the trajectory of this recent film. But there's a lot that you can explore there. Obviously, the motive can still loop back to what happened in those first two films. But I'm just saying, there's nothing wrong with exploring this through the lens of newbies. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. A lot of people don't like this either because they say this is ageism. But when you think about it, if you want your franchise to continue on, and that's what a lot of them want to do in Hollywood, a lot of these producers want the franchise to live on forever, you are at some point going to need to start shifting it to the younger people that you can carry on the franchise with, presumably for the foreseeable future. That's just the nature of life. Who would you think you can carry on the franchise with more, a 60-year-old or a 20-something-year-old? Give the honest answer down below. These people obviously are not 60 years old, but I'm just giving an example. You're not going to always be able to just lean on your legacy stars. You can't do that. Your franchise at some point is going to have to go through a course correction when we unfortunately lose these stars that mean so much to us. So that's why you start thinking about how can you keep it alive, and that's when you start leaning on your younger talent that's out there. Give them a chance to shine. I Know What You Did Last Summer is giving Madeline Klein a chance to shine. People love Madeline Klein, Sarah Pigeon, so many others. This is going to appeal to a lot of people. And by the time it's all said and done, I don't think Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are going to be the things that people are clamoring for when it comes to I Know What You Did Last Summer. That'll be the thing that got me involved from the get-go. But a new generation is about to experience this franchise in a way that has not been done in over 20 years. I also just think it's pretty silly to undermine or discredit the appeal that a slasher film can have. These movies are not being made for the most expensive budgets. You're not getting some type of Disney MCU type film where it's a $200 million budget. Slasher films are popping right now, and a lot of that is due to the success of Halloween 2018, which overperformed, and these franchises have just been reviving themselves, following in Halloween's footsteps. So the slasher genre has a big appeal. It's not going to come down to just Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt. Yes, their presence can help make it better because they are very well-known stars, but you don't need them to be successful. That narrative is something I can never agree with or get on board with because it just doesn't make sense, doesn't align with reality. Their presence would help it be more successful, but you do not need them to be successful. But I look forward to seeing how Ray and Julie are factored into this narrative. Let me know what you guys think about all of this down in the comment section below. If you haven't already, of course, make sure you subscribe, turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. In the description, I have links to all of my social media accounts. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can message me there to let me know any movies, news, or reviews you'd like me to cover in the future. And with all that in mind, guys, I will see you in the next video.